to come back on stage. And we're going to talk a little bit. There will be a chance for us to answer some questions from the audience in a second. Get the outfits here. Do you want to start with your real slam-a-jam of a question?
Yeah. Wait, which one? The one about
No, the one about, so this is for Biniam and Tracy. When is the last time you guys felt awe?
The last time.
2 minutes ago.
The last time. Oh, I got one. Dude, okay. How do I make this not be too long? So the mission that I'm working on right now is going to launch in 2022 to go visit an asteroid, which is mostly made of metal, right? And we were having a dinner last night with a bunch of people on the project and a person who is retiring, and our principal investigator, Lindy L. Constantin, who is so awesome, gave the person who is retiring a piece of an asteroid. And it was like one of those really cool pieces of metal asteroid, like the one that I'm wearing, only hers was cooler. And it had like the whole metal grain patterns in it. And she said that the bunch of the science community thinks that that particular slice of a meteorite might have come from the asteroid that we're sending a spacecraft to go study. Like, holy crap, everyone's jaw hit the table. That was my last moment of awe last night.
when I saw Avatar in 3D.
Normal people.
I'm not sure if I felt awe since then.
But awe, actually, this is one of the why, when people make the pitch about why should we care about awe, why should we study awe, is that we feel awe all the time, but in like small, tiny little doses. Like we don't actually feel awe, big awe a lot. Like maybe the one that you were describing.
That's pretty big awe.
Little awe. You're just like little awe. Sorry. But we feel awe all the time. But maybe the argument of why it's important is because awe does a lot of causes a lot of pro-social behavior, and we should feel a lot more awe.
Oh, actually, is awe always associated with a positive feeling? Or like, if like a boulder was falling on you, could you be feeling awe? Like, this is horrible.
And also, they couple shock with awe a lot. Is that a different thing? Shock and awe?
Yeah. So awe actually, like the root of it is actually about the fear of God. So yeah, there is a threat-based awe which they study, which is like. So it came from from God, and
Damn.
so fearful. Again, it's about if it's just about perceptual vastness and something you don't understand, it can be negative or positive.
Okay. I've got a question for you, Tracy. So you're the first engineer we've had on the show, and you're also the first. Thank you. You are our first science guest to arrive on time. So I wanted to ask, how has being an engineer and that type of thought process impacted your life outside of the work that you do?
Oh, it totally has. That whole fault tree thing, it just gets embedded in your DNA, right? I actually forgot. You guys told me this was going to be in Santa Monica. I live all the way up in Glendale, work in Pasadena. I forgot until like a few hours before the end of the day that it was in Santa Monica, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna leave work at 4:30. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna leave at like 5:30 because traffic might be bad. And if I get down there early, I'll get some coffee and it'll be totally fine. And so that happens kind of like naturally. That doesn't happen.
I asked Tracy earlier if she's ever missed a flight. Obviously not.
No, I came within a gnat's eyelash once. It wasn't my fault. I was so mad. I was gonna hurt somebody, but like I didn't actually miss it, so it was okay.
Well, Biniam, do you have any questions?
I was late.
You were right on time. It was so smooth. You're like, what?
They were like on stage, like finishing the bit, and I'm like, and they're like, "You're on," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." Just keep going. Take off my backpack. Go up. Yeah.
The wizard is never late.
It's
He
true.
arrives exactly when he needs to.
Exactly.
That's efficient. It's like efficiency.
I was efficient.
I've got another question for Tracy, but Biniam, feel free to jump in, and we can all jump in too.
And we're going to open up to the audience afterwards, so get your questions ready.
So we've got another one of our former science guests here who was inspired a lot by sci-fi when he was younger, and I know that was a huge thing in your life because you wanted to put that in your presentation. You said, no, Tracy, it's too long, because you didn't realize that you could talk so fast.
20 more slides in there.
Plenty of time. So could you talk a little bit about the inspiration in TV, movies, sci-fi that got you where you are now?
Yes, how much time do we have? No, so, even though I grew up with a mom who was not like super technical, she loved science fiction. So Star Wars, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, everything, you name it, we watched it, loved it, right? And so I always I wanted to be a lot of things too, pilot, astronaut, whatever, but I also had this undertow of science fiction being super cool and eventually wanting to do something that had something to do with that. Like, can I come up with the thing that makes us be able to beam across the sky? That would be great.
What was your favorite sci-fi entertainment?
Star Trek Next Generation, hands down. That's my generation. But right now, like, The Expanse. If you, like, show of hands, who's watching The Expanse? Like, okay, like, keep them high, keep them high. Look at, like, the rest of you, we can't be friends. It's the best show on sci-fi, right? Like, just watch it. Go get it. Read the books, yeah, read the books first. Books are great. Read the books and then watch the show, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. They're doing a great job.
All right, so let's open it up to the audience.
Just raise some hands. Oh, we got one right there.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. Awesome presentation. That was really fun. My question is, why do you think there's a whole flat Earth society going on? Why did it happen? And what did you do? How do we kind of teach them?
Oh, that's such a good question. Like, once my eyeballs stop bleeding. So, I like to believe the best in people, and so I want to think that there's two camps of people. Those who think it's fun to play around like they think there's a flat earth and just want to see what's going on. Like, I want to think most of the people are doing that. And for the people who aren't, I feel like it's possible that science was never made accessible for them, and that they never got a chance to do their own hands-on experience and get a sense of, I can prove things for myself, and have a sense that science is not about accepting what someone says because they're an authority. It's about the things you can actually go out and prove. Like the Greeks knew the Earth was round because of the whole sailboat coming over the horizon, and you can see the sail for. I mean, it's kind of obvious, people. So, and so I think that to be gentle with people, just to see where they're actually coming from, and to try to give them some things they can think about and go prove to themselves are real.
So this is crazy. Like, my brother is a physics teacher, but he teaches 9th graders, 10th graders, and also geometry, while at the same time being a flat earther. Yes. And one of the big things he says, like you're saying, provable, he's he'll look at a picture of, I guess, just, it's like a screensaver of the ocean, and he'll just be like, no curve. Show me the curve, you know? And I'm like, you don't, just because you can't see with your eyes, you know? You can't see fucking Wuhan virus with your eyes, you know? It's or a bacteria, you know? It's so, I don't know.
If we had $20 million to put everyone on one of those, you can go around the Earth on the space station and be like, there it is.
Yeah, that's what I've told my brother before. I've been like, I want to become so rich so I can put you on one of those spaceships that it's for a consumer. And by then, they'll have some Elon Musk type thing you can just buy for $300. But he'll even think then, he was like, I don't know if I would believe that, because they can make all of the windows into LCD screens, and we'll just think that we're looking at it. And I'm like, there's no saving some people.
Was there a question in the back there?
I was going to say, what happens to him when he gets in an airplane?
What he gets on
Your brother.
Oh,
Because you can't get high enough, you can see a curve, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. He doesn't. Yeah. The window. He'll say like everything's built to make it look curved. You know? It's right. Have you watched the videos? You know? Yeah. I've watched them to try to understand, and I'm like, man, this is the worst edited thing.
That's a good question, because there's a thing called like falsifiable theory. So maybe if we ask those people, what evidence would you need to see before you would believe it? And then go find that evidence for them.
The problem is,
We're getting into philosophy of science right now. This is not philosophy of science, the show. This is science, the show.
when I stopped trying to convince him is when I realized that is his religion. You know, like that's his God type thing. Like I can't. Just the same way I can't be like convincing someone Jesus isn't real or so whatever if they're a Christian. It's like that for him. It's just, he believes it on faith. So. That's, you know.
Not science anymore.
You know, it's not science, yeah.
Does anyone have a question? Anyone else have a question from the audience? I'm pointing, yeah, right now.
Is there a common misconception about your field that you would like to clarify, or you would clarify to everybody if you had the opportunity?
Yes. I think there's a common misperception that when people think engineer, they think a person who is sitting in a room on AutoCAD, like making widgets all by themselves. And a lot of engineering, especially systems engineering, is about collaborating with a group to come up with creative solutions to very weird problems. And it's such an exciting way to work, and it's very not the like stuck in here with my like slide rule doing stuff. So that's a misperception I'd like to correct.
What's the weirdest problem you've ever solved collaboratively?
Weirdest.
I'm gonna think about that. I don't want to, like, let's take another question while that cooks in my hindbrain and like,
How do you feel about like the privatization, like going back to the Elon Musk thing? Are you excited about it? Does it scare you?
yeah, so while I'm thinking about that, this is the opinion of Tracy Drain and not the opinion of Nessa. But I think privatization is awesome because it's like, the more people are tinkering around with doing stuff in space, the more we as a human race will advance to do stuff in space. So I think it's fantastical. Please, more of that. Yes, please. I'm still thinking about your
The woman in the blue shirt.
I was wondering if there are any theories for explaining the 8 storms around the pole of Jupiter and the hexagon at the pole of Saturn.
So this is where I say, me engineer, not scientist. However, I read an article once, and so please go fact check this and read your own articles, but about the hexagon on Saturn. When I first saw that, like if you had showed that on a movie screen before it was a real thing, people would have been like that's dumb. It's never gonna look like that. Come on. Who's seen a hexagon on Saturn? Raise your hands. Like, okay, for those of you who haven't, Google hexagon Saturn, prepared to be amazed. And what I read was an actual scientist, not engineer, was doing some experiments and found that if she took a cylindrical chamber and made winds blow in it at different rates, it sets up like a standing pattern in the atmosphere, kind of like a standing wave, and she can make it do hexagons and octagons and all these weird things. And so it's to do with the different wind speeds, which is super cool. About what's going on at Jupiter, I don't know. I cannot wait to hear what the scientists say about it. And the one on the South Pole that had 5 storms, it was 5 storms for a couple of years, and it has been joined by a 6th storm. So it's super cool. It's a hexagon on the South Pole now, but to go with the octagon. Yeah, it's so cool. Science is cool because you just need to learn new stuff. Weirdest problem? That's a hard one. Wow.
Questions from the audience?
We've got some more, yeah.
One in the front.
Hi, Tracy. Can you go into a little bit more detail about the nuances in your power analysis that didn't align with what you saw in action?
Yes, I can. It was not a units thing, let me just say that.
And that joke killed for like 2 people. Such a solid joke for like an audience of 2.
It was more that you can think about power in energy in a couple of different ways. You can think about it in terms of state of charge, how much between 100% and 0 is left in the battery, or you can think about it in terms of voltage. And we were used to thinking about it in terms of state of charge and not voltage, and there's some nuances in exactly what the spacecraft is doing. The instant you you drop the sun and then you start sucking energy out of the battery, voltage behaves a little differently than the way we were handling state of charge. So it was kind of that, and also that as we were on our way from Jupiter to Earth to Jupiter, then we don't keep the battery completely full because it doesn't store as well that way. It like increases the longevity if you don't have it completely topped up. And when we were doing the analysis, we're like, yeah, it's not full, it's totally fine, we have plenty of energy. Yeah, not so much. And if we could even have set the trigger point at where the spacecraft decided it had a problem at a different level, because we did have plenty of energy. It's just we told it too high. If it hits here, then there's a problem, and we just didn't leave ourselves enough headroom to be a little off, which we were. So that was the story.
So I want to actually ask a question to the entire panel.
This is going to be our final question.
So in the future, I don't know, how do you guys think technology is going to like impact your lives and your fields, and like what are you excited about like in the next 20 years?
Wait, how far in the future?
How far do you want it to be?
I mean, I guess it's because it could just be like the collapse of society.
All right. Before that,
I'm ready for the wasteland.
Dylan and I are going to do really good in the wasteland.
No.
We'll host your wasteland jamboree.
Raiders will kill me. Dude, I'm so hyped for VR. Just plug me in the Matrix. I'm so fucking over it. You know how miserable taxes are?
VR.
Dude, it's like it's like the Matrix, where it's like draining my life to like power a machine, but I get to like fuck around in like VR land.
No, but dude, you don't in the Matrix.
No,
it
it's
sucks.
I'm sorry, this is my future, not yours. Yeah, for sure. Just like bloop, I blank out, and then I like walk into like magic land, and then I just like slowly wither away. That's my future I want. That got morbid.
For me, and we've talked about this on stage, I want a whole bunch of new senses. I want to see in different colors. I want to taste with my skin like an octopus.
Yeah. See, I feel like those are still the same senses, just with different bites.
Okay, I want to feel I want to smell breeze. I don't know. I just want a bunch of different things I can do, because this is boring now.
Now, can you relate that back to Land Rovers?
Yeah. Go farther.
Go beyond. Go beyond.
Go beyond.
Okay, so I originally, like when I was younger, I wanted to become a brain scientist, researcher, because I wanted to figure out how we could DVR our dreams and watch them back. And right? Yes, it's a real thing. It's happening. Are they able to actually get images? They're trying.
They can make you like, they can tell if you're dreaming of an apple. Right?
It's not enough. But I'm trying to get the full thing that I can play back and scrub through. Because I feel like when we have that, we're not going to have movies and TV anymore. We're just going to watch our dreams and just be like, yo, did you see Bill's dream? Special effects? I mean, everyone's dreams will kind of be like David Lynch movies that don't really make any sense, but they're just like interesting. But I would never watch Netflix again.
Tracy?
You know, I've been trying to come up with something that is more realistic because I don't actually think we can do this. I just want it really, really bad. And that is teleportation. I just really want that. Because then you could leave work Friday evening, you could pop over to London for the weekend, you could pop back. I want that so bad. And like, there's quantum tunneling, like, can we please?
Whenever they do it in movies, one of the ways that made the most sense of all of this technology is not real. Is like they destroy you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not
carbon, right?
Yeah. So it's not really you, but it is.
I was getting drunk with a quantum physicist because that's what my life has become. And I was like, so, friend, what do you think about the, you get destroyed in the teleporter thing, right? That's what's happened. He's like, no. That's not what happens when you teleport. You tunnel. It's what's the difference between my hand being here and here, and my hand being here and there? And then I'm like, all right, I need 6 more drinks because you're 1,000 times over my head. But that's the life I've constructed for myself.
Oh, so he could explain how teleportation would work
To himself. Wait, Brian, you say that because he's not here.
Wait, Russell, you can answer.
I just want to point out, I think it's hilarious, like when people think about these like technology things, that it's always for something like pretty. Yours was not, but like yours was just like to save time.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for like world peace.
We save the world. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up, but really quick before we go, anyone in here who is part of a STEM field, if you're a scientist and engineer, if you are training to be a scientist and engineer, mathematician, medical doctor, or one I haven't named, stand up with us really quick.
Do it,
We're gonna
do it,
give
do
you a
it.
round of applause too.
Hey!
The reason we do the show is because we love the work that you guys do. We didn't go here, we did celebrate it enough. We think it's super amazing. And now that we're up, let's give a round of applause to our guests. Thank you. A round of applause to you guys for a lovely audience. We don't know what the next show is going to be, but it will be soon. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We're Science the Show on both of those. We're also sciencetheshow.com if you want to sign up for our mailing list. Our next show will be really, really soon. Whatever it is, it's going to be awesome, and we hope to see you guys there. Have a good night.